All right, welcome back. Brett here with ClickMill. All right, so in this video, we're talking about hoping for the best and planning for the worst, okay? I'm super optimistic. I would not do half the things I try to do, and it's not even to say they're the biggest things, but even still, you know, I wouldn't do half the things that I try to do if I didn't think there was hope, right? Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. I wouldn't even try this stuff. Other people, really seriously, other people have told me in the past, it's like, when are you going to get real? My, even someone in my own family is like, yeah, but when are you going to go back to college and like get a job? Never. And then one day I finally, after 20 years of hearing this from this person, it's like, well, oh yeah, how are things going over there at your marketing firm? And it's like, I told them about it and they're like, oh, oh, well, congratulations. Good for you. And, they're super embarrassed because they've been telling me for 20 years to go back to school. And what? It's like, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have tried any of this stuff if I didn't hope for the best. I really truly believe this is the calling God has on my life, and I'm all in. So long until he tells me to pivot and do something else, I'm in it. Same thing with our foster kids and obviously my wife you're all in once you're married. And so it's like you hope for the best. And also, anything worth doing is going to be hard. Anything worth doing is going to be hard. And the things that are the most worth doing are going to be the hardest things you can do. There is no silver bullet. There is no easy way out. It's not happening. If you want to get rich, it's not easy. All of these videos that come up and it's like, oh, hey, here's how to be rich. It's not going to be easy. There's no silver bullet. If you want to be happy and satisfied in your marriage and you came from a difficult upbringing, it's not going to be easy. It'll totally be worth it when you get there. And also it's going to be hard, right? Communication is a hard skill to learn. There's a lot of, and I'm speaking from personal experience. My wife and I, when we got married, we didn't know how to communicate. Nobody ever taught us this. And it took us years. And now I love how we communicate. There's no yelling. There's no screaming. There's no fighting. We know how to talk calmly and negotiate issues and come to solutions. And we solve problems when they come up. It's great. We're not perfect at it, but we're really, really good compared to where we started. And it's worth it. It was super hard to learn, and it's totally worth it. So we hope for the best and we plan for the worst. Now, we need to plan for the worst. We have to be okay with the reality that reality can be hard and we can get punched in the face. And we have to be aware of its existence. And I want to draw a line here too. We need to be aware of the possibility of the worst case scenario, but that is very different from developing a bunch of anxiety. Like anything I commit to, I need to be aware of, not that I have to like write it down a giant list and just think about it all the time, but I at least need to be aware of the downsides. We have foster kids. We're trying to adopt these kids. And it's like, what happens if we might not get them? My wife and I have talked about that. We would be terribly heartbroken. Will we be okay? Yeah, we'll be okay. What are we going to do? We already have a plan. We already know what's going to happen if it doesn't work out, and we're not hoping for that, but we have a plan because we know we have a training. We made a plan. If the worst case scenario comes knocking, we will execute the plan and we will go through that plan and we will be okay. Right. And the same thing is true with like let's just say relationship with my wife. I hope my wife's around for another 50 years. We got a great long run in store. What happens if she's not? Well, I haven't planned that one out, but let's just say it isn't. Well, that would be grueling. That would be terrible. And also I'll be okay. God will see me through it and I will find whatever the next step is that God has for me. And I don't even like thinking about that. What happens if ClickMill? What happens if something happens and we can't keep doing this? You will be okay and I will be okay. I'm not going to let that happen under my watch so long as I'm capable. But what happens if it happens? I'm going to find the next step and it's going to be okay. Okay, so we hope for the best. You're going to go into everything like a victor. And you're going to be okay with the worst case scenario that might be the time you're getting on the bike for the first time and you're going to fall off and it's going to hurt. Right. And this is true for me. when I went into business, I tried starting 5 businesses in a row, one after the other, and I failed every single business. I was so discouraged. I was like, I'm never going to start a business that's going to do anything. And for me, I felt like God was saying, quit trying to start businesses. Because, of course, I was doing it in my own power, just being like, I know this is my calling and I'm going to do it. God, don't worry. You don't have to help me. Well, he's like, no, go work over there in sales for a while. And it's like, why would I work in sales? I'm trying to start a ministry. It's like, turns out, in case you're wondering, if you have a business and you sell services, you have to know sales. God knew that, I didn't, so I was never going to get it. So he put me in high-end sales where I was selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of merchandise a year, and I hated it. And then after I was finally just humble and I'm like, you know what? If this is where you have me, God, this is where you have me. I got a call on the phone one night, and this guy was like, hey, it's Dylan. I'm like, who's Dylan? He's like, remember we met that one time while I was moving out of your apartment and you were moving in? We literally passed each other moving in. We had a conversation about this book right there, the orange one. And we talked about it, business. He's like, well, we just started a business. We kind of shifted away from our old business. It's called Click Mill. We don't want it anymore. How about you take it? I'm like making eggs in my pajamas at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, do you want to do what? You want to give me a business? He's like, yeah. It does Google grants and like all this stuff. He's telling me about it. I'm like, what's the catch? No catch. We're going to shut it down, and it's going to take us more time to shut down than to hand off passwords. You can have it. I don't know how to do any of that. I don't know how to do marketing online. Oh yeah, no problem. We'll teach you how. Come work for us. He offered me a job, brought me into his marketing firm, taught me how to run it, let me moonlight getting my own clients, and then I shifted away from his firm into ClickMail when I was ready. Okay, so that's the best. That's hope for the best, right? Could have been the worst, but God provided in that situation. I, in my own attempt to do it myself, fail. I would have failed 1,000 times if God had kept telling me to fail. I would have worked in the day. I worked 2 jobs when I started ClickMail. I worked in sales, and then I worked at a discipleship school for sales, which turned into marketing because it turns out they didn't have any kids to sell. So I had to go and find them, which is marketing. And then got pulled into this side. I was working 3 jobs, like 2 or 3. I don't even remember. There were so many things going on. If that's what God told me to do, then that's what I'll do. And if you want me to start 5 and fail 5, I'll fail 5. You want me to start 10 and fail 10? That's what I'll do because I'm okay with it. If you tell me quit doing that and go work in sales, like that was way harder than failing. I'll fail any day. Don't tell me to get a job. Told me to get a job and just sit there. Fine. Like that's an even worse reality for me. And then he just blesses me with it. Okay. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. If you got to get through 100 failures, just get through them. The faster, the better. Own them, eat it, get out on the other side. If, and also you might get the best. You might get the best. And for me, it was endure 5 failures, endure multiple years in sales, which I did not enjoy. I felt in a lot of ways in some of those situations, some of the people training me could be manipulative, but not usually. But still, it was just like, ministry and sales and then God blesses. Cool. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Looks like my camera just overheated, so I'll leave you here. God bless.